I'd like to call this public meeting to order and recording the roll.
All present.
And open public meeting. This is a public hearing to hear comment on the City of Ironwood 5-year park and recreation plan.
Thank you. For this evening, we have a public meeting to hear any comments on the 5-year park and recreation plan. This is the forming of the DNR process, and you will see this as an agenda item later on in your packet. And this is in conjunction with the comprehensive plan as well.
Commissioners, any questions for Mike Brown? Okay. This is a public hearing, so if there's any members of the audience who wish to comment on Ironwood's 5-year park and recreation plan, now is the time to do it. And if you're able, please approach the podium and state your name.
Marion True, Ironwood. I'm a member of the Parks and Recreation Committee, so I have my biases in that respect, but I support the plan as it's presented in a comprehensive plan, Parks and Recreation 5-year plan. It presents a framework around which we can build, and which we can attract not only local people, but area people in volunteers and others. A lot of emphasis on the role of volunteerism, which I think is good. Details will be worked out as time passes and money comes up, so forth and so forth. But I do support the 5-year plan as presented in the comprehensive Ironwood plan.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the audience that wish to comment on our plan today? Okay. I will close this public meeting. Our regular meeting does not start until 5:27, so we have about 3 minutes to relax. roll.
All present.
Item C, approval of the consent agenda. Any changes you need to be aware of?
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kennedy to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion or comments on this item? Roll call.
Care.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Tyler.
Yes.
Program.
Yes. Item D, approval of the agenda. Are there any changes we need to be aware of?
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kennedy to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion or comments on this item? All those in favor, aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item E, citizens wishing to address the commission on items that are on the agenda. This is a 3-minute limit, please. Just be aware to be respectful of personal attacks and observe the time limit. So if you are able, please approach the podium, state your name, and this is for items that are on the agenda.
Tom Bergman, Ironwood. I'm also the chairperson of the Planning Commission. My comments are in regards to the comprehensive plan. And first of all, I just want to thank you guys for not only funding, but also supporting the planning process. It's been a great deal for the community. And also just to remind the commission that it's really a beginning. Part of this process is to fund these projects as we go forward. And that's part of just believing in this community. So I encourage you guys to fund projects as we go forward that are associated with the plan. And once again, thank you so much for contributing, the community's funds to this. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm John Weisling. I stepped up here as the current chairman of EDC, but as a citizen and ex-planning commission member. On this comprehensive plan, this is an important step. It's a good step forward. And thank you for considering funding. Thank you for working in conjunction with a lot of the other things and the other committees and the other groups that were part of it. And I urge adoption. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to add a comment to that. I'd like to thank John. John was a relentless proponent of the comprehensive plan, and I think he is, in some measure, responsible for us getting to this point.
Thank you, John. Anybody else?
Hello everyone, I'm Bob Jackford. I'm not even a resident, but a taxpayer in this county. And in regards to your comprehensive plan, I'd just like to suggest or tell you that I've been part of organizations that have gone from not having a long-term plan and not had that part of their thinking and going to having that part of their thinking. And I would love to see you just kind of really put an emphasis on how you're going to take this forward as a commission. For example, when we did this transition at Gogebic, we went through the agenda items much more quickly and talked about our plan, our strategic plan on absolutely every meeting. I'm on Michigan Text Board, and everyone that presents at Michigan Text Board right now starts out by saying, in line with our comprehensive plan or our strategic plan, there's this called 2035. We are doing this, and the whole focus ends up being the focus on the comprehensive plan, which guides us. And if I had my way, I would see you have excerpts of the comprehensive plan right behind you there, so that it reminds everybody that this is how we're functioning. Every decision we make is based around this comprehensive plan, being in line with it, and everything that happens works toward this plan. And just so you could take some time, or you took a special meeting, but it seems like you have time if you made 20 minutes of every meeting talk about a discussion about how are we tying in and what can we do with the comprehensive plan. That would be a way of keeping this thing alive and never letting it sit on a shelf. So if anybody had any more comments to me and wanted to talk to me more extensively, I would be more than happy to help if I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is where I'm gonna jump in, because I've talked to Michael about this, the biggest thing for us to do is to focus on implementation and not letting this, like you said, sit on the shelf and just become something that we throw in when it comes to grant writing. It absolutely needs to be our focus, whether we, as you said, work in our meetings or set up an independent sort of group for oversight to make sure that we're staying on task. There's a lot of things that we need to do as a city to really focus on it, and even after adoption, we can't let up off the gas pedal, because the moment that we do, it's gonna stop, and we can't let that happen. So you and I are gonna be having some conversations, Michael, but we gotta have it between ourselves as well to really not let this go away.
Anybody else in the audience that wishes to comment at this time?
Ian Shackelberg, Ironwood, just wanted to encourage adoption of the comprehensive plan. They worked really hard at getting public involvement. It's a good document to guide the city in the future and seems really mainstream and common sense to me. Also, since I'm near item U, authorizing bids for the trail, construction of Western Gateway Trail, really happy to see that there. That's going to be great.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Belda Silvani. I'm a Community Development Coordinator in Oconee County and Ontonagon County, and I fully support the comprehensive plan. I've been to all the meetings. The workshop was very important to open houses. You have to have a foundation and a plan in order to go forward with progress in the area, and you have to follow that plan, as David just said. And this will help me a lot because I recruit businesses, and I can refer them to your comprehensive plan so they can see what the city of Ironwood has to offer, so they can locate in your area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Takes us to item F, citizens wishing to address the commission on items that are not on the agenda. Again, just a reminder to be respectful, no personal attacks, and observe the time limit.
Mike Fryer, East Party Mountain Lawyer. I'd like to address an ongoing lake issue on our street at 225 East Party. I have a couple of photos. They kind of speak for themselves a little bit. These passes on. There are two main issues at this site. The first one is the blight, and the second one is a spring to fall rummage sale that goes on every day. And we've been working on this with the blight officer since 2012, and there's been no visible improvement that you can see as far as driving by it. Nothing's really changed. I know Jason's been working on it pretty hard, and maybe it's just a paper trail we're building yet. I don't know. What has happened at this site, it's become a dumping ground for anybody that, for their unwanted items. If you take it to the transfer station, you have to pay to dispose of it. You dump it here, it doesn't cost you anything. You know, people come from as far as they go get it. You know, you see these resort vehicles with their name on the pickups. Throwing out boxes, old boat cushions, just things you have to pay to get rid of. And the problem's getting bigger and bigger. It's kind of a hoarding, I guess, site, you might say. There's quite an array of different items in there. Some of these items have stayed in that yard from one summer through winter into the next summer. Just right out there, just, you know, Ironwood used to have a theme, live where you play. Well, there's a couple from Madison, Wisconsin that took that to heart. They bought a house, you know, that was very next to the bladed site. You know, I can't speak for them, but they told us they couldn't believe any city would let somebody get away with this. You know, my property taxes go up every year, and I really think anybody that owns property near a blighted site that has been made aware of to the city should be getting a reduction in your taxes. You know, that blighted site is holding your value of your property down. and considered it's just gonna take forever to clean up these sites. I really like to thank the Ironwood Safety Department and Jason Allen for their work on this. I'm not all negative, they're working on it. In closing out, I just like to see this site cleaned up before it becomes another expensive cost to the taxpayers to clean it up. I appreciate whatever help you can give us, and I urge everyone to drive by there and just take a look. It's 225 we started. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Because I have looks to deserve some attention. Thank you for reading. Anybody else at this point?
I'm also on Harding. My name's Bob Reinish. I'm a seasonal resident out here. I pay about the same tax-wise here as I do in the East Valley of Arizona. And, you know, I understand there's a lot more residents there, but I just kind of like to reiterate what Mike just said about 225. I see the same mattresses and couches, and like he said, it's basically a dumping ground, and I just get tired of the traffic. I mean, these roads aren't super wide anyway, and you get people parked on both sides of the street, and it's just an inconvenience to the people that live there to get to and from where they're going. And the other property I want to address is, and I'm sure some of you are probably familiar with it, I know Jason is, it's 208 East Michigan, and I had initially contacted him this trip May 19th of this year, and to date, not a whole lot has happened in the backyard, and we're coming up on 60 days. So I know he has sent letters out, but I don't know what the place is being used for. You know, it's looks to me like it's somewhat, you know, occupied from time to time by friends of whoever owns it or whatever, but, you know, it's almost the same thing as 225, only on a smaller scale. Mattress, TV, there's a bathtub out in the front yard that's been there since people were inside the place about coming up on 3 weeks ago. What they were doing, I don't know, but when I drove by, one of them was wearing a 3M respirator, so I don't know if that, you know, said something about what was going on inside or what, but if I had to make a guess, I'd say it's a grow house. You know, that's just my own opinion, because I see a lot of it out in Arizona too. There's a big meth problem out in that part of the valley where I live, and it's just real obvious when you drive by or when you talk to the people that are in there. I don't know if it's a problem with funding or wherewithal or what, but I'd really like somebody to actually, you know, put some pressure on them to either clean it up or have somebody from the public sector step in and take care of it and send them the bill, because I'm just tired of looking at it. Thanks.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Could we ask Jason about the Harding?
Sure. I've been in contact with Mr. Reinish and Mr. Dreyer on numerous occasions. The one on 225 with the perpetual garage sale and the debris in the yard. We can talk about that when we get to the budget update, but we're about ready to do a third notice, set a public hearing on that property.
Okay,
And the-
if it's in the budget, yeah, you can wait.
Yeah.
All right, perfect, thank you.
Are there any other members of the audience that wish to address the commission on items that are not on the agenda? Okay. Item G, presentation, Jason Allen, and the Board of Enforcement Officer.
Over the past year or so, we've been being a lot more proactive with our approach at blight and our dangerous structures. Here we just have some photos of our most recent, I guess, large cleanups. Of course, we all know the property at 213 Bonnie, which Mr. Hewitt has worked on with condemnation. We got that cleaned up, and that was completed as of May of 2014. Next, we have a property on Arch Street, which we had a public hearing last year. We started last year and it got too wet and our guys couldn't get into the rear yard and stuff, so we finished this year, July here. Took down the garage, got some debris out of the backyard. There was old couches and pieces of the garage that were in the backyard, so we took care of that this year. Our largest cleanup probably to date since I've been here was up on Oak Street. You can see some before and after pictures. We actually started in the fall with DPW crews. I think they spent 2 days there, and then we gave the homeowner till June of this year to clean up, which he successfully did. The pictures on the right are after his June date. There on the left is what it looked like, the upper yard as of last October, and on the right, what it looks like as of today. Again, this is a view from the road. There was debris scattered throughout, and he has successfully cleaned up that debris. This is the same area from October to June. So that was probably our biggest cleanup that we've done in the last few years. We have a property over on City Street. I know it's been brought to your attention numerous times. Actually taken care of by the homeowner. They got rid of their vehicle. They removed the garage. Those are a few of our recent cleanups. So we have some ongoing cleanups, which 400 Cedar Street is an item in the agenda later on this evening. We have 614 North Lake, which we're going to be bringing that Mr. Porter we talked to last week also back to the next meeting. We have a county blight demolition grant coming up, which I think we've seen in the paper. It's in Ironwood. We're going to remove 2 structures, 108 East Oak Street and 323 East Pine Street. This is going to require 25% match from the city, and we have demolition funds that we can take down 2 structures for a quarter of the price. So far this year, we've sent over 200 properties blight notices. We have about a dozen or so that are already after the second notice, and we're going to be setting some more public hearings at the next meeting. Our DPW has been out there busy mowing lawns where people aren't maintaining. I think they've mowed about 30 so far this year, and that's just an ongoing problem that we have with people that don't maintain the property. As far as the Harding Avenue, that's going to be the 225. It is a problem. We have been working on it since 2012. I know last year you guys with us implemented the perpetual garage sale ordinance, and we're through the second notice on that and ready to send the third and have a public hearing on it. As far as the other one, we're just about to that point where, it'll probably be another month before there's a public hearing on the other one, the 208 Michigan. They are in the blight list, which I periodically send to you guys if you want to take a look. That's about it for the blight update. I don't know if you have any questions or.
Can you just review the process for some of the people that are in the audience tonight? Like, what we do as far as the first strike, second strike, and stuff, right?
Well, we always send a first notice, which is just a notification. Maybe the homeowners aren't aware of what's going on. We give them a certain amount of time, depending on what the violation is. Some violations you got to give them longer time, like vehicles need 30 days, whereas other blight violations only need 10. First letter comes with no fees attached. The second notice we send comes with a $75 fee, and it gives them a time frame to get everything cleaned up. And if they don't do it by then we send them a third notice and actually set a public hearing with a $150 fee attached. Just pays for our time and our effort that we have into doing all this legwork. And then we bring it to the commission, and we sit down and we go through the presentation of what the violation is, and if deemed a nuisance, we go clean up the property. And once the property is cleaned up, we'll come back to the city commission with an amount that it costs the city workers, and I believe that can be put as a special assessment on their taxes.
Thank you.
What is the time frame between the first notice, second and third, and then it comes to us?
Well, it depends on the violation. You know, like I said, vehicles get 30 days because, you know, they're unregistered. You need some time to get them registered and insured and things like that. The third notice is actually sent after we set a public hearing because it's also notification of that public hearing. So the third notice is the end of the line where we give them until the day of the public hearing to have it cleaned up. And if it's not, then they have to, I guess, be in front of you guys to explain the situation.
How long, so from the first notice till it gets to us, what would you say is an average?
Probably a couple of months. We do have some things in our ordinance about setting a public hearing, and we have to notify people within 300 feet, and it has to be at least a 15-day notice, so when we set a public hearing, we can't set it for the next one, because it's normally only 14 days between meetings. So,
When you send that first notice, how many people comply at that point?
well, years vary. This year, I'm seeing actually a little bit less on some of the ones, because we're going after more of the hardcore people, trying to get them to clean up these areas. I'd say maybe 60-70% complied. It's the 30% that we have to deal with.
So would you say maybe getting through this particular phase could be one of the toughest parts of our process? And, you know, once we can get rid of the worst offenders, as it were, it could get better.
Yeah, I think we're in the toughest stage right now of going after, you know, trying to get a lot of these real tough situations taken care of. I think it'll get better after this.
So,
Commissioners, any questions for Jason Elliott?
and I guess I'd just like to say, let us know what tools you need. This is important to us.
Can I ask Jason a quick question? In 17 of your code enforcement regulations, there's specific timelines in there as far as first letter, second letter.
Yeah, and they vary between what the violation is. Vehicles are different time limits.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking that 60 days probably overly optimistic, because I started talking to you on 208 last year, you know, so.
And a lot of times, I've actually had contact with that homeowner that he's speaking of, so we'll talk about it and say, I'll get it done in 2 weeks, so they get a little bit of extra time, because they're actually coming in and trying to be responsible for it, and actually coming to talk to you, which is, most of the time when that happens, it's a step in the right direction, but in this particular case, it just never got accomplished.
Commissioners?
So both of the properties that were brought up by residents are,
They're on the list and in the
they're
process.
in a certain phase. We may be seeing them, more involved in them fairly soon here.
Yep.
Can I ask a question? How does this work, though, Jason? Like on this 225, we kind of contacted you, like say May, or the end of July, now, beginning of August, and let's say they clean it up. Not really clean it up. Let's say they put it on the site, let's say in a garage or did something. Now we're going to run into this next spring, the same continual cycle. They can start up again and we contact you next May, and they got all summer to do what they want. No, I mean, it's,
Yeah, actually, 2 years ago, we put in a repeat offender ordinance for properties. If we get to that point, we send them that third notice, and they don't comply, then the following year, we can start at the second and send them a second notice, and then you're 10 or 30 days later, depending on what's there, you can set a public hearing. So it actually reduces the time on people that have been in violation before.
sure, that's what I was thinking.
These are great questions, because I would not have known that. These are things that people who live next to blighted structures, like myself, we have one that's pretty rough. Like, I think we should work on sharing these, just because it's great sort of communication tools to let people, you know, that live that. Yeah, it does take time, and even though it's very much an annoyance, it just needs to work its way through. And I struggle with that too.
Yeah, and that is if they want to come and pick up a copy of the ordinance in the office, or if they want to call with questions, I'm, here during the week, they can call whenever they like. I urge them to call, and I'd rather have people notifying me of things going on, and we'll try to take care of them the best we can.
And you maybe to touch on blighted properties, cleaning up the outside, that type of thing.
If there's actually a structure to condemn, it's a whole other process, just so everybody's aware of that. And that's where a structure is actually structurally deficient. It's, you know, that bad foundation or roof. And then it really goes over to our building official, Dennis Hewitt's area, and they have a whole other process. We have to go through a series of public hearings and things like that, which we've done on occasion. But just so you're aware, there's kind of a second different process if it's a structure that has to come down. That's a more complicated process than even the yard cleanup type of play.
And one other question I have, when the homeowner in Plano does not respond, particularly in a blighted structure situation, does this create a situation where we're almost,
You mean as far as a building structure, like
right, we're almost unable to do anything until the tax sale issue?
Actually, I believe we have one on the agenda tonight where we're going to set a public hearing for condemnation. That's about our only route to go with.
But if we condemn a structure and there's nobody to tear it down, the homeowner doesn't do it, what happens then?
Then it comes down to really the city deciding, is that something you want to put public funds for? And we do budget, you know, a certain number of dollars every year to take on a couple of structures. And again, it comes back to the commission, we have that discussion. You can condemn it, and again, that condemnation process allows that property owner to actually fix that structure before it would have to come down. So you give them a period of 45 days or 60 days to actually come in compliance, where they could get a contractor in or fix that structure back so it's structurally sufficient again. If they don't do that, then it comes back to the commission, and we have a public hearing, and a decision is made, is it condemnable? And if you do condemn it, then the next question is there money to, you can condemn it, but then where is there money to actually have it removed? And again, you have been budgeting for those. You take a few down every year, and it's been quite proactive. So again, it comes back to you, and that's the process. But it's a longer time frame. Again, it's someone's property, it's their house. It's set up to be more complicated for that reason. You're actually taking someone's property and tearing it down, so you have to make sure there's a good process followed, and a good public hearing process before a public body can actually take someone's house down. And it has to be at a point where it's structurally efficient, that we can go in and comfortably say that the foundation is falling down, the roof is falling off. It has to get to a state of disrepair before Dennis can make that determination.
I guess one of the properties I was thinking about and asking this question was the one on Lowell Street downtown, the house that's been, was at one time a beauty shop and then started to be remodeled and then it all stopped. It's been sitting there for several years at least. And what was the delay, what is the delay in us pursuing this?
That's a good example. That's another challenge, I guess, if you will. The structure itself is not condemnable. I mean, if the foundation isn't falling down, the roof isn't falling off, they have the tarp on the front because they're doing some work on the siding. So for Dennis to condemn it, he's not able to condemn it. It's not at that point of disrepair. We did actually bring that property over through the court system. We charged him through another process where we went and actually brought it to a court, and he's been charged with basically violating the city ordinance. Again, you can see that solution has not forced him to do anything with the property. And now that property is going through the county tax sale process, I understand. So again, either someone will pick it up and fix it up, or it's something that could be purchased and then torn down if there's a desire and financial wherewithal to do that. But the structure itself is not to a point of being able to that it's actually something that could be fixed up with a little bit, probably quite a bit of effort, but it's not structurally deficient at this point.
I guess I just would like to know what we can do to accelerate a situation like
Yeah,
that.
next point on that one is that we've been through the court system, and we've been through that with the judges, and that process that we follow. It hasn't been, we can't. That's as far as we go with that. Now it's a question of if it's at that point that you feel you want to take it down as a community, that you have to look at acquiring it through the tax sale process, and then it have it moved. And you know where that is in the county tax sale process, Dennis?
End of August, first part of September, normally they have the auction.
So that's high on your radar screen and you want to put some resources into. So we can bring that back as a topic of discussion and stuff that we need where you can see if you as a commission want to pursue that. Again, your number of remote there, so you have to get set your priorities.
Takes us to item H, presentation, Scott Erickson, city manager, update on federal disaster declaration.
Again, we're still reeling from the effects of last winter with the cold, deep freeze that we had. We had a lot of water mains that froze, broke, a lot of water services that had to be thawed out, and a lot of expenses to get put into making that happen. Through that process, the county had declared a countywide disaster, which then gets bumped up to the state. The state has declared a statewide disaster, which then has to get bumped up to the federal level. And that's where it's at now. It's at the state level disaster declaration. We work with Jim Loper through the county. We submit all our information to him and he forwards it on. It's at that state level right now. And Jim's going to give you an update on where that's at. We're having some challenges on, if you will, convincing people at the state level that needs to be up to a federal declaration level. Because when it gets to the federal level, that's when FEMA would step in. There could be some financial help, okay, help with some of these repair costs. And if you look at our estimate, I think our numbers are very valid, and we're at about 1.7 million. Now, about 800,000 of that is for water main repair that's been temporarily fixed. We have to go back in and replace it. But of that, 1.7 million, that is a huge impact to our budget that we're, really reeling from the effect of last winter's problem that we had. So, Jim, you want to give a brief update?
Sure. Good evening. The issue that we have going on right now, since I've been in the job, we've had some major disasters in the county that two of them were federally declared. And each of those emergencies, the state and the feds send up a damage assessment team, where that team would meet with the city and the township, and we showed them what our damage is. This one, they want to do everything different. They're doing what they call a virtual damage assessment. On June 28th, I received an email from the state saying that I had to get all the numbers to the state by July 3rd. This was on a Friday afternoon before the 4th weekend. My office met with each city and township, and we must have spent a good 4 hours with the city of Arlington going through their damage assessment. We did send all that information with documents, pictures, everything the state asked for. Where it's at now is the state's starting to pick it apart. In fact, the review that they sent me Friday afternoon again showed that the city was only worth, their damages, according to them, was $55,000. I had a meeting with the state today on a conference call, and I told them it's outrageous. Now, I've been dealing with this ever since it's gone on. This virtual assessment is not working. The state has basically said to the emergency managers of the UP, you go out and get the damage assessment. I feel, and I feel the city has done everything in its power to give them truthful and accurate documents and statements. Right now, I'm informing, I drafted a letter to the state saying that we stand by those numbers. Now, that 1.7 million for the city does not include the wet runs. They say they are not eligible. And in my mind, bringing people up here and let me ask them, do you want more main breaks? Because we did it as a protective measure to your infrastructure to do those wet runs. It's unfathomable to me that they would not look at that and see about returning some of that money to the cities. If anything, the power we had used for the pumps, because the water is all running. I mean, that should be a level expense. So I am drafting this letter. I will have it done tomorrow. And what I plan to do is after I sign it, the town chairman will sign it. And I plan on bringing it to every city and township within Gilgit County that claim damage to sign it. To tell the state, these are our numbers. We believe that they're correct. And that this should go to FEMA. I'll answer any questions that you may have.
All right, I've got two. Number one, are other counties having the same issue?
Yes,
Like, is Marquette getting valued
Yes.
at 20,000 or?
I don't know exactly what they did. We submitted $2.7 million for the county, and according to what the state has, we'll get 513,000. Or they're going to declare 513,000 as allowable expenses, and to me, they're just not right.
Does it get harder as we sort of move into the summer that these things get lost, or are sort of the numbers set to the point where? Like,
I think the city has done a great job in keeping track of their numbers ever since this disaster started. I have instructed the city to compile all those numbers and keep them, and once they've been steadily notified me of any changes.
All right, so then I have one more. Is there anything that we can do? Can we make phone calls? Who
I would
talk to?
suggest at this point, and I know the state police doesn't like it, contact the legislators. They are aware of the situation. Marquette had a meeting with the legislators today on another matter. Marquette County brought it to their attention. And, well, like I said, they entrusted me to go out and told me to go out and get damage assessment. I made sure that under allowable expenses that the city followed that. There are some things that throw out in cities and townships during all this process. It's not going to be covered. Like, just to give you an example, on my phone call with the state, they said, we don't know if it's private or public on the thaws. I said, what do you mean you don't? Because it's private. If the thaw is where the lateral is on private property, that can't be covered. But all these thaws were on laterals on the street. And I said, well, what do you mean? It says right in the spreadsheet that you told me to fill out public damage. What do you want? And basically, they told me, we want an email from every city and township stating that it's a public damage. That's how ridiculous this is getting, and frustrating for me, because, you know, my job is during the disaster to make sure that the city and townships are kept whole. And for them not to accept my damage assessment with the county, just a slap in my face. And I let the state know, and they don't say anything about it. I am not the only one who's doing a letter to the state. Marquette, Mackinac, I believe True Law is going to be doing a letter to the state. See, you know, what the heck? So, any other questions or comments?
Well, I know I'll always do that for you, so I appreciate you acting on our behalf. With that said, I think the city commission should draft a letter or have a letter drafted on our behalf and send to all of our local legislatures that $55 million is not acceptable. You can have the plan motion forward, so you
If you would, as a board, if you want to send a letter on that, in that fashion, you can take action on it.
I would encourage the same thing, and not only our state level legislators, but also our federal legislators.
Okay, let me say this. The information I got from the state on Friday was preliminary information. Now, and I can't believe to this, but in defense of the state, they're dealing with thousands and thousands of documents. And this is their first look at it and tell me they were supposed to give me an updated one because I found discrepancies on what they gave me on Friday. That $55,000 is not set in stone that they're going to say we'll get, or the city of Arnold will damage. I'm in the process of right now fighting with the state to say the numbers are correct and the information we gave you is correct. So, you know, with the letter that I'm going to send to them tomorrow afternoon, it will state that we stand by our numbers. Okay? They may say, you know, because myself and my other coordinators, we're the damage assessment people. I've been through the training, my counterparts have been through the training, and know what's allowed. I've been through this process. It's up to the state to get those numbers to the feds so we can get a federal declaration. And then, you know what, gentlemen and ladies? We started all over again with the feds. They come down and meet with us and go through all the numbers. That's the process we have to. But I want to say that numbers that I got on Friday were preliminary numbers and what the state saw so far.
And I do think at this point, because after seeing that preliminary information, we need to be our own advocates on this also.
I agree.
And I think if commission's comfortable sending a letter on behalf of the city, I think that's appropriate, and also that we would sign on to the letter that the county is also going to be sending on behalf of all the communities. I think that'd be appropriate to take that step. I mean, our legislators are aware that we're concerned about this at this point in time.
So I'll make that motion.
Second.
That we contact all of our legislators, both state and federal, urging them to give us all due consideration in this matter.
And authorize the mayor to sign a letter on behalf of the city commission.
So I got a motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Tower, to authorize the commission to submit a letter of support to state and federal legislators supporting our numbers for our winter freeze declaration, and authorize the mayor to sign all of the documents. So,
That include that sign on with the county too?
sign it and include signing.
Is there a letter?
Sounds good, guys.
I appreciate that. The reason why I showed up today, City of Ironwood, to have some more damage, and, you know, I know what the city has been through, and kudos to the Public Works and the crew to the city in dealing with all this. Fine gentlemen and ladies to work for. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your information. Okay, I do have a motion by Commissioner Sino and a second by Commissioner Tower. Any further discussion on this item? Karen, can you roll call?
Seymour?
Yes.
Sim?
Yes.
Power?
Yes.
Taylor?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes. Thank you. Takes us to item I, discuss and consider approving resolution 014-024, City of Ironwood Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you. So when my daughter was 3, a friend of ours told her that flying unicorns exist at the zoo. So when we went to the zoo, she started looking for flying unicorns in the cages. Never saw them. This year, she's now going to turn 6 in August, just graduated kindergarten. We went to the zoo earlier, and I said, so make sure you keep an eye out for the flying unicorns. She said, Dad, unicorns can't fly. The only creature that can fly is Santa's reindeer. So, what is my point? My point is, my daughter believes in unicorns and Santa's flying reindeer. The same applies to the comprehensive plan. We have a lot of residents, a strong community of engaged citizens that believe in this comprehensive plan. They've engaged with the public input process, they've provided comments, they've provided feedback, they've talked about the plan. Our planning commission, our city commission, our EDC, our DIDA, Parks and Rec have all talked about this plan throughout this process. This plan is going to help be our marketing tool for the area. It's going to bring people here to live, work, and play. That's the goal. That's the plan. It's a real good marketing tool to do that. And through implementation, we put ourselves in a position to create that environment, to create those opportunities to accomplish our goals. The process started back in November of 2013 with our consultants, Washington Kogler out of Minneapolis. They came in, started talking to the Planning Commission on a regular basis, almost monthly, every other month. We had conversations with our consultants, with the planning commission. We held numerous public engagement opportunities, held 3 days in January where we had the public come out for various opportunities to participate and provide input. Throughout the process, the planning commission has been the lead role on this project, but we also engaged the city commission with monthly updates, the EDC, the DIDA, and Parks and Rec for their input, and regular updates as well. All those groups, as well as others, have made motions of support from their organizations for this plan, because they believe in it, what it has to say, what it has to offer. The plan consists of 8 chapters and 4 appendices. First couple chapters introduce the plan, sets the tone for the plan, sets the basis for why we do the plan, and the foundation for the rest of the chapters. Chapters 3 through 7 are the actual action item plans. Different topics such as land use, transportation, parks and rec, economic development, infrastructure, and housing. Within those chapters, there are strategies and implementation actions to complete and move the city forward. Chapter 8 is the implementation chapter, and that chapter talks about how we implement it. As David said, he wants to make sure that this plan is implementable. The way the plan is written, the way it's been designed, the way that we've tailored it, is very action-oriented. And working with the plan, as well as the citizens and the boards and commissions, it's doable. One of the things that I've done is I've created web pages on our website for each chapter. They aren't up yet until we have the final documents in hand that I can put those together. But on those pages, you can go, citizens can go to that chapter if they're interested in Parks and Rec or community development, economic development, and see what the status is, what we're doing. Performance measures will be there. We'll track those on a yearly basis. Action items will be on there. Each board and commission, depending on their area of expertise with this plan, will set priority actions every year to say, this is what we want to accomplish, and then we move forward with that. And with each month that goes by within those different groups, there will be a topic on the agenda for called comprehensive plan, where we're going to discuss, this is where we're at, this is where we need to be. The appendices, the first one, Appendix A, is just called the fact book. It describes the demographics, the data, the basic statistics about our current state right now. And what that does is it sets the tone for the plan and where we need to go and where we want to go. Appendix B is the public engagement summary. It talks about all the different components that we use for the public engagement. The public engagement plan is in there. It talks about all the different steps that we've taken publicly, the meetings, the workshops, the sessions, the discussions that we've had. To give everybody the possibility, the option, the ability to participate. And we had good participation with our survey that we did. We sent out surveys to every single taxpayer with their tax bill back in November, December last year. We had over 500 responses. Now, we have a population of around 53 people. I'm not sure how many specific tax parcels we have, but I think we sent around 4,000 or so. So to receive over 500 responses from a survey out of 4,000, that's pretty good, statistically speaking. So we have people that care. Not everybody wants to come to a meeting and speak publicly, but we gave them an option to provide written comments in a survey. The project website had options for people to submit comments anonymously, so it worked out very well. And we took that information from public, what they said, and we formulated a plan around it. So this plan really is the public's plan. Appendix C are the SMART plans. This is a new concept, a tool that the consultants created specifically for Ironwood. What it does is it takes the strategies and implementation components in the plan and details them more. It breaks them down from a 1-sentence, a 2-sentence item in the plan into a 2-page action item. It talks about who, what, when, where, and why, and how do we accomplish this program, this project. And what this will do is it will allow people, the citizens, to come in and say, I want to get involved with this because I really have a passion for this. And these SMART plans will give that opportunity to these people. If they want to participate in whatever it is, they can come in and talk to me, and I'll say, well, let's figure out how we can get this done. How can you get involved? Maybe you'll sit on a board, maybe you can do something on your own through volunteerism. What it also does is we created a template, a blank form, so that if there's an idea that somebody has out there that isn't in the plan or hasn't been thought of, they can write it down, they can create their own SMART plan, submit it to me. We'll talk about it at the different boards and commissions and say, well, gee, this probably is a good idea. We didn't think about it. Let's try to get it done. So there's numerous ways for people to continue to participate and help implement this plan. The last appendix is just the information for the DNR requirements for the Park and Rec plan. These are just information items that are required as part of that planning process. And again, the next item on the agenda tonight is the Park and Rec plan for the DNR. It's been incorporated into the comprehensive plan as a full chapter. So as we move forward, and every 5 years as we're required to update the comprehensive plan and the DNR park plan, we'll do it simultaneously. So it'll always be working together. And with that, I would answer any questions you have tonight. Otherwise, we're asking for you to approve the resolution before you.
Further questions? Thank you for all the hard work and for a lot of time and effort when we do this, and I think it points us in the right direction. And I agree with Commissioner Simmons. I think it's important to keep it basic. It should be talked to as well. So, anything else, Commissioners?
And basically, I'd like to say that Michael's work is only begun. Community development is a huge component of implementing this plan and helping us to be aware of elements of the plan, keeping it on the front burner and not letting it collect dust every time. And that is, I think we all share the strong feeling that will not happen. We use this plan all the time. So, the burden's on all of us and Michael as well, city staff.
That being said, Vic, make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution hereby approving the comprehensive plan.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sebo, second by Commissioner Simmons to approve resolution 014-024 as described in item I. Any further discussion or comments on this item? Can you roll call?
Sim.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Gale.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item J, discuss and consider approving resolution 014. It's nice when we get that very often here. Item J, discuss and consider approving resolution 014-026, the City of Lakewood 5-year park and recreation plan.
Again, as discussed, this is a chapter within the comprehensive plan, but following along with the DNR requirements, what this plan will do is allow us to apply for grants to the DNR to accomplish parks and recreation projects. So we're looking for your approval tonight.
Just that one, why do we have to approve it separately when we just approved that plan as part of the comprehensive plan?
It's part of the DNR process. So the comprehensive plan process follows the Planning Enabling Act law for the state. The Park and Rec plan would follow the DNR requirements. So presuming you will adopt the Park and Rec plan, it's more of a formality, technical issue that we have to go through this process.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution on item J approving the Parks and Rec plan.
Motion by Commissioner Sebo and second by Commissioner Tower to approve resolution 014-026 as described in item J. Any further discussion or concerns on this item?
Tower.
Yes.
Gale.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item K, discuss and consider awarding the old road meeting surplus equipment bids.
So this evening we have before you the bids that we received on the old roads, and we're asking for your approval this evening.
Make a motion we approve the bids as described in item K.
I'll second it, but I have one question. What's the next step with what's left?
It's a good question. I need to have a discussion with the state to see what our options are, what our legal requirements are. The process that we have used, we've followed per Attorney Pope's legal advice. So we need to contact the state, let them know the status, and ask them what they feel acceptable for the remaining items.
I'll call and say he's anxious to get to the garage back.
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Sebo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve the awards for the old road meet surplus equipment bids described in item K. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Can I do a roll call?
Gale.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item L, discuss and consider approving CDBG grant MSC-2013-0072-2 between the Michigan State Housing Development Authority and the City of Ironwood, and authorize the mayor to sign all appropriate documents.
So congratulations is in order. We received another grant for our housing rehab program. We received $121,900 in grant money. Tonight before you is the agreement finalizing that, and once we have this agreement signed, we will continue moving forward through the process that's required, and then we can start doing projects and rehab projects for homes in the Nora area.
I'll make a motion to accept or approve the CDBG grant as described by the panel.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Semo to approve the CDBG grant as described in item L. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Seymour.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Power.
Yes.
Gale.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item M, discuss and consider approving Little League Field concept plan.
Okay. This item has come before you recently. We had a discussion about a month ago or so on the Little League field and their plans to expand and create a second field. The plan went before the Planning Commission as well as the Parks and Rec for their review and comments. This report tonight provides the public comments that were mentioned during the Planning Commission meeting, as well as the questions and discussion items that the Planning Commission and Parks and Rec discussed. The main emphasis was support for the plan. There were some comments from people in the audience that had questions, concerns. As again, they're stated in the report. The Planning Commission, both the Planning Commission and the Parks and Rec Committee had a common question regarding the plan. As you can see, this section here, this dotted line here, is the current top of slope. If you've gone out there and you look over the edge of the cliff there, it pretty much goes straight down. That's the top right there. What they're proposing to do is fill in this area about 40 feet worth horizontally out, south from this area to provide more area for parking and also put in a multi-use trail. This is the Miners Park area. There is a pond below. So the big question from both Planning Commission and Parks and Rec was, do we need this much fill? Is it necessary? Are there ways that we can renegotiate the parking and the layout of the field so that we don't have to put any fill or not as much fill? Some of their concerns were really stabilization and safety. This fill being put in, will it be stabilized properly? Is it going to be safe to walk on, drive on, etc.? A couple other comments were in regards to looking at changing the approach or design of the parking lot areas. One concern during Parks and Rec came about with the playground location being too far from parents that are watching the games and can't watch their kids, and also in close proximity to the parking lot. Again, that's kind of a thing that we can work out through site design. And what the goal is the Little League group, they received donations. They're receiving a donation from the Rotary Club, a substantial donation to help finalize this field and get it in good working order. So they have money, but there's still more work that needs to be done. And as part of the DNR grant process, we will be able to apply for grants to help finish up this field. So those were the main items that were discussed. Again, other comments are in the reports. I'll look to Scott to see if he has anything else to add as far as the plan itself. So tonight we're really looking for your blessing on the plan, the approval, and really the infield and outfield area is kind of set. They've been grading out there, getting it in order. They've got grass and dirt, and they're trying to get the area out here flattened out and smoothed out so that we get parking. Parking lots won't go in this year because they don't have the money for it, but that's the future plan, to be able to pave those areas, keep the dust down, get the parking off the streets, and make the streets safer, and put the parking, in a parking lot where it belongs. So we're looking for your blessing tonight on that, and really the other discussion item is the concept of a fill. What are your thoughts on that?
Maybe to touch on the plan itself, I'd say it's a concept that's will evolve over a period of years, getting funding, that type of thing. They are moving forward with the field development, they do have some dollars available to get that field operable, and that's their first goal. Again, this is the concept for the whole park, if you will. Probably the most immediate discussion that we had with the Little League and the minors and some of the staff members here has been the fill area. Beyond trying to expand that horizontal space over there, create more usable space. And that's a question tonight, because there is an opportunity, if you will, for the projects, possibly have some fill around over here to create that horizontal space. Again, this area, from my understanding, has been filled over the years, and that's what created a good part of ball fields in that area. So, again, asking you to consider approving the concept. Also, we need some dialogue, some discussion on that fill area. What you feel is, is maybe needed out there, how it might impact this field, impact the plans, if you will, for the miners park area, try to marry those two together so we can, create good usable space here and still keep good usable space in the miners park. So with that, it's really a point of discussion, see what the commission's direction is.
I think it's a great plan, the concept is a very good concept. Parks and Rec and planning were both very positive and thought it was, the concept is a great concept. Converting this concept, which I think where people get stuck is turning this concept into a site plan, which it is not. It's a concept plan. And there's a lot of calculating and measuring that needs to be done. In discussions with the Little League people, they also feel that the plan isn't the final site plan. This is where we want to go. This is kind of what we'd like to see happen. So for the short term, I would suggest that we approve the concept of the plan. And I would also like us to, I would suggest that we encourage the Little League people to solicit Phil to level off the current roughly flat area and make that suitable for parking, to create a short-term easing of their parking problem. We can do that while we're creating the final plan. And in discussions with Sam Pontecchio and Jeff Weavery, they like that as well. They thought that would be really useful to establish the grade there of what's already there and then lay out what they think they're going to need and really make a final plan based on that. It's fairly vague at this point. I would also like to encourage staff to solicit grants, DNR trust fund and or recreation task force grants to help pay for this.
So if we were in need of a buffer, we still have to next year to invest in more contractors as far as dumping some of the stuff off the highway there. There's no need to act on a buffer right now.
Well, you'll have phase two. Right now we have phase one going, the US 2 project phase one, where they've indicated they're generating quite a bit of fill from that project. Again, phase two, more fill will be generated. They're looking at, with this concept, probably somewhere between 50,000 yards of material. It's a rough number, could be anything, could be 20, could be 100. But there is the opportunity, I guess, if you see it as an opportunity, to utilize that fill. Now, again, it's not utilized this year, that fill will go somewhere else, and then it would be next year whatever might be available from that contractor. And again, with the contractors, there's no guarantee they'll bring it here. They may have another spot they want to bring it. It provides a spot that can be advantageous to contractors, but also, if you felt that would be advantageous to the city, if you wanted to create that additional horizontal space out there. So I guess your window of opportunity is, this year, next year. Again, this might be an area that if you wanted to create that horizontal space, it might take a few years to get it filled in to a point where it's, as shown on the plan, depending on how you want to go with that.
I think we should start filling this year. So that way it'll start settling. Then next year when they come back, I have to put more. That's a luxury to fill. You can try and expand out on that parking lot. Going back there, looked at it.
Yeah, I've been back there a lot. And I seriously think that the area that's there is adequate the way that it is. So, there's a difference of opinion on that, and that's okay. And that's why I'm encouraging us to realize this is just a concept and not a plan. It doesn't even actually reflect accurately what the reality of the area is there.
The way it is right now, it's so steep.
what I'm telling you is that there's more room there than that would indicate. And also, there are changes to this plan that could remove some of the need to dump over that edge. We just took that long section of parking lot and put an angle in the middle of it so that it conforms to the curve of the fence. We're already getting away from the edge. And that's the point of this, is that it's just a concept plan, it's not a final plan.
Now, next year, we might not be able to get it to fill. You try to get some now if we can.
When the fan is fully baked, I would say that's worth talking about.
No, the short term, right? We have the fill opportunity. We should probably take advantage of it. We push it off, we may not have the opportunity to have fill.
So what would you say would be an appropriate amount of fill? The 40 feet over the entire embankment?
What are they asking for? 40 feet? That's what we want.
That's what they're looking for.
But if you have further discussions with Sam and some of the other people, they'll say, no, that's not really necessarily true. They'll say that this is just a concept plan and it hasn't been really researched. Don't go too far with the plan. It's not completely.
What are they applying to, are they dumping there now, or?
They're not dumping in this location right now. The contractor had intended, or thought they might be able to utilize it when they first started the project. I think they're actually bringing some of their fill out into the township right now, in my understanding. So again, they expressed if this was available, they could use it for a fill site if we thought it was mutually advantageous. So right now, I think it's another different location where they are themselves.
I think we should give them the option that if they're ready, and if this is what, I mean, I see Rick's point in that, yeah, this isn't final, and I've spoken to Sam too, and they, you know, they're sort of in that this is what the grand scheme in a perfect world would look like, but I do think that if they're ready to do it, then we should give them that option.
And they don't need the 40 feet, when they can stop. They don't have to dump their entire load without it.
It does create like a safer barrier between the parking and the edge. Might be a good time to take advantage of the highway construction for this property. Commissioners, what direction you want to take on this item? Approve the concept now?
I'll make a motion to approve the concept.
I'll second it.
It's not like you got a bite.
Below that.
We're approving the concept.
Okay.
And the fill issue, I think the fill is in the second issue.
Very good. We have a motion by Commissioner Semo, a second by Commissioner Tower to approve the Little League Field Concept Plan. Any further discussion on this item? Roll call.
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Sable,
Yes.
Program.
Yes. Item N, discuss and consider action on.
Can we talk about the
No, we should probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
What do we need for the appropriate number of, excuse me, do you want us to start lighting them? Put their fill there, or do you want?
That's the direction that we need as staff, if you feel there is some desire to have some fill, what's the parameters on it, or if you don't want it to happen, you know, that's fine also. If you want to set parameters on it, you want to see it occur, then you can set whatever parameters that might be. As far as limitations, location when you can start, or, you know, if you want the whole thing to be open space, those type of things. And also, if you're going forward with the discussion, if you are looking at allowing some fill to occur here, I also put caveats on such that in the area that, if they are allowed to put it, that the trees would have to be removed in those areas. There need to be silt fence, with that piece packed with soil, seeded and stabilized from a religious standpoint. So, you know, again, just as you discuss this further, again, which direction you go with it, things that you want to have included if you want to pursue that.
One other question, there's no shafts close to it. Or Captain?
Not that I'm aware of.
There's one shaft fairly close to the Little League field that's generally ignored. It's actually on the Little League field side. It's the called the Curry Shaft, and it's one that we've talked about.
On the far east end over there.
It's probably less than 100 yards from the edge of all that parking. And so that is a definite concern.
You know where the road comes in, it's kind of over that area, that gravel road.
And it's one that President Myers Memorial Heritage Park has identified as one of the first ones that we there is a shaft there, yes. That being said, the fill isn't going to change that, make it more or less dangerous.
That's not outside the area we're looking at right here, just outside of it.
It's just outside.
Map.
I do not oppose the concept of fill, I just feel that we don't have enough information yet to decide the parameters of the fill that we're going to put in.
That's behind the smaller parking lot there?
Well, just along that whole embankment, what do we really need to make this plan viable?
Oh, by adding fill, they're still going to make it safer, drop off.
It's not going to change that one way or the other. There's still going to be a cliff that goes down. It's beautiful over the edge now, forested. It's going to wreck all that. The less you do, the less it's going to ruin it.
If I wanted to make a motion, for 40 feet out of it.
Yeah,
That's what you said I need?
You want to put some parameters on, so it's clearly understood, either per plan or some variation.
We're up to 40, depending on how much they want to dump.
40 out, if that is your.
I'd like to make that motion at this time.
So to say that it's not on our agenda to do that, but
Well, we can push it off to the next meeting. I think we can have Sandy come up here and give us a concrete plan or direction of tell us what they need. You approve the concept. Now, listen to detail and what exactly they need. And go from there. I rescind my motion.
I agree. I would like to have some Little League people here, and if the Myers Memorial Park people have concerns as well, they should come as well. Because I understand that there are concerns about the pond behind and what goes on back there, but I would like to hear what the Little League people have to say when it comes to how much they need. And is 2 weeks going to change how much fill is available?
I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker either way. I don't.
Need a motion then, bring that to the board.
If you would, we could add it on as an agenda item.
how would we phrase this? Just that we would like to have a discussion at our next meeting about parameters for fill. I'll make a motion that at our next meeting we discuss parameters for fill of the Little League project.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Kayer to place on our next meeting parameter or discussion for parameters of the Little League field concept plan. Anything more than that?
That's clear.
Any further discussion or concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
One more thing I'd like to bring up on this is I personally feel that I would like to encourage staff to maybe move this up the priority list for the granting process. I don't know how the rest of the commission feels about that. It's an excellent project. And for some reason, it hasn't gotten a lot of traction over the years. And I feel that that's maybe an oversight that needs to be corrected.
No, I don't believe in the past it's been in the Park and Rec 5-year plan. It's now in the Park and Rec 5-year
It's
plan.
been there since 2002. It's been in it.
Okay, that'll be discussed as that grant opportunity comes up.
I also talked to Mr. Bauer about possible grants, because you have to get a wholesale from earlier.
Item N, discuss and consider action on rental property at Coleman Cedar Street.
We have 400 Cedar Street back in front of you guys. We initially had a public hearing in November of last year. We gave the property owner until the first meeting of May of this year. At that meeting, you had been until June, and in June, he had done a partial cleanup. We
figured about 60-70%, and then you asked to bring back the first meeting in July. It seems like on the property, we have pictures on the left from June, and then pictures on the right from July. It seems like we went backwards in the cleanup process. You can see that there's debris scattered throughout the back. He is now approaching on the right of way of Cedar Street. Not as bad as initially, but still over the sidewalk area. In the back, the pile has grown in the last 30 days. I was hoping Mr. Ken Farner was here today. I know he was notified by, setting the public hearing when he was here last time by a letter. I also called him. He's not here. We have rock piles that are on city property that are still there. I think we need an end date where we're going to go and take care of the problem. I think maybe a little more time would be fine, but we need a date where we can say if it's not cleaned up by now, then we'll come in and take care of the issues. I talked to Mr. Bob Richards from the DPW. He said August would be better for their department if they had to do a cleanup. I know they're very busy right now. Maybe we give them some more time so he has the last chance to get rid of the stuff before it becomes very costly.
This is getting tiring going over this time and time again. It's
Yep.
like move forward a little bit, back a little bit.
I'll make a motion that we authorize DPW to commence cleanup on August 15th of the Farner property.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sino, second by Commissioner Tower to authorize DPW to commence work on 815 at the Cedar Street property to address their blight situation.
Does that work for you?
That sounds good.
Did you want this item brought back to you at the first meeting in August?
Honestly, I don't think I want to anymore.
Okay.
We've had
Needs to be in compliance by 815.
So from your board, staff will move forward with the commission direction.
I feel that now the burden is on him. If he complies at that point, then he's complied, otherwise we made our decision.
Excuse me, what Jason had just said, we may need some special equipment for getting some of that stuff out of there. It's probably a little too heavy for our equipment to handle, so we'll work it out. But Jason and I talked about if we needed a plan of some sort or something, because you're talking a long time to get this cleaned up, a long time.
Right.
He's got his end date now, so hopefully.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Sino, a second by Commissioner Fowler. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to new business. Item O, consider approval of rural development fee package in the amount of $265,121.63. The City of Ironwood Ritzville Construction Phase 3 Utility Project Water Portion, and authorizing the mayor to sign all applicable documents.
And the commission is familiar with this process. It's what we used over the last 2 years for reimbursing the contractors. Again, this first payment, you'll see two of them. One is water, one is sewer. The first one includes the contractor's first draw payment of work that's been completed. There are also some engineering fees in there that we're reimbursing the engineers for. The project is moving forward in a good manner. We do meet on a weekly basis, check status if there's any concern issues. They've been very responsive to that. And right now, they're basically on track with the schedule, Mike. Is that fair enough to say?
It is. And just to update the commission, if you will, generally speaking, the sewer and water mains in the 8 or 10 blocks there west of the Clark Street right away, which is that big ditch that goes through there, kind of right alongside the movie theater. From there to Lake Road, they only have one more block of pipe to put in. All the mains are in, and they've got about 25 or 30% of the services done in that area. And from there, they'll progress easterly. And they're right on track with the schedule that they proposed prior to the award of the project.
And they'll start, as you see, they go through, they do their underground work. They'll start doing some street restoration, so they're not going to wait until they get to the end of the project and come back into the streets. That should start, it's actually started a little bit already.
It did. They gravelled about 3/4 of the block on Saturday.
And I've driven through there too. It is a construction zone. It is, disruptive to the residents, but they've been doing a good job after hours going back and regrading the roads. They do have to settle out a little bit for traffic to get on them, but they've been diligent in that. And again, we do have Chris Boyd here from Ritzel Construction. If there's any questions of the contract, also Chris is in the back.
And if somebody did a quick reading every other day, we'd be much better off, actually.
Residents' concerns are being addressed with the roads issues. I had to go back there. I was supposed to go back there for work. And some people were, but I had to park, walk and a half away from the house to get there and walk there. And she was surprised I even made it. Well, I didn't with the car. I hooked it on foot. But she was concerned with not having access to her house. And obviously I share that concern.
And
Granted, that was being handled.
and today I was out there this afternoon with that nice 50-degree cold rain today. It was muddy again. But I drove a two-wheel drive pickup truck almost anywhere I wanted to go. It is nice, and perhaps we might say that people's perception of passable is different. And someone who may not, what I drove down may not see it the same way.
Well, I certainly wasn't taking a squat car. I can tell you that.
Certainly, and we'll provide access absolutely as best we can. We can't gravel roads until the work's done, unfortunately, and that takes time. And the testing of the water main, although it sits there, and the perception is that no work's going on, and that the water main is disinfected, and then we're doing a pressure test and a continuity test before we can hook up the services safely. So we'll keep moving forward as best we can.
And if there are concerns out there, we have heard some, I think contractors have heard some, we do pass them on to the contractor. There's someone just one that came up, someone who had a moving van they needed to get in, so they'll work with that properly to get that van in. If someone has some medical concerns, issues, they want to be aware of that, so they can, do everything they can within their power to, make sure there's the access to the best they can. So if you do hear those issues, we pass those along, and I'm sure they'll do the best they can to maintain access.
I'll make a motion, we approve the pay package described in item O.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Cater to approve the pay package as described in item O. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Tower.
Yes.
Care.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes. Item P, consider approval of rural development pay package in the amount of $181,745.55 for the City of Ironwood Peninsula Construction Phase 3 Utility Project Sewer Portion, and authorize mayor to sign all applicable documents. Pay requests.
I'll make a motion, we approve the pay package described in item P.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Cater to approve the pay package as described in item P. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Care. Semo.
Yes.
Sim.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Yes. Item Q, discuss and consider authorizing advertisement to bid for the demolition of structure at 227 East Aurora Street, building adjacent to Ironwood Carnegie Library.
With Commission's authorization, the city staff will put together bid specifications as well as solicit bids for the removal of that building. Bring those back to you. Again, we'll see how the bids come in, hopefully they'll be competitive. And we'll go forward with having the structure removed.
Roughly how much do we have basically earmarked for this project?
Oh, again, as you recall,
Well, the DIA, they gave up a certain amount, 2,500, I think.
and the city committed to a third,
And the library was kind of the rest.
the rest, so, again, depending on.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the advertisement to bid described in item Q.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve that, or authorize the advertisement to bid as described in item Q. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item R, discuss and consider authorizing bids to rehabilitate existing booster pumps at the pump station.
This item, again, our pump station is out in Ironwood Township to pump the water in to our residents. And at our booster station, we have 3 pumps out there. Again, with all the work we've been doing, we've been able to reduce our pumping needs, which is a good thing. Less water mains that are leaking water. We do have 1 pump that is down, and Bob, you want to touch on that? What needs to be done with that?
Sure. Scott explained it perfectly. We have 3 inline booster pumps. 1 is completely down right now. We never want to get down to 1 pump. Fire safety, keeping our residents in the water. So we want to rehabilitate the pump that's in line that is not working right now. And we're asking for you to just let us go out with bids on this. It's kind of an odd setup that we have in Ironwood with the inline boosters. We do need 3, always 2 running and alternating, so we don't wear out the wear rings. And I believe that's the problem with this pump. The wear rings and the others are bad.
Well, you have a long-range plan. We've talked about the commission to look at a larger project out at the booster pump station to rehabilitate that station for long-term, the next 50 years. This is an interim stopgap. We need to have the pump rebuilt for this purpose. But we'll be having discussions going forward again on the full redevelopment of that pump station area that will last beyond all of us. That's a bigger picture discussion, very expensive endeavor to go forward with. So.
I'll make a motion to authorize bids to rehabilitate the booster pump station.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, second by Commissioner Simo, to authorize bids for rehabilitation as described in item R. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item S, discuss and consider authorizing bids for water main replacement at Thomas Street and Marble Street and miscellaneous sanitary sewer improvements.
This project, again, is associated with our big freeze last winter. We had, I think it was 16 locations where we had water mains that split, broke in multiple locations. Some of those have been temporarily fixed. We put bans on those. Those are locations we're looking, hopefully, to get some federal funding to help replace those. That's in the neighborhood of $800,000 to $900,000, so that number of locations. We do need to move forward with this location right away. In this neighborhood, we have temporary water main above ground. Right now, it's just plastic piping that are feeding 4 or 5 houses in that neighborhood. So we do need to move forward with it. We do have funds available in the water fund, even though it's been pretty well completed. We feel to at least get this portion of the project completed. We would like to do the whole thing, but the dollars aren't there. So this is probably the highest priority of those 16 or 17 locations. So we're requesting authorization to go out to bid. We'll get a contractor, bring those bids back to the commission for consideration.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the bids described in item S.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Simo, second by Commissioner Tower to authorize bids as described in item S. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item T, discuss and consider authorizing bids for street name signs.
This is somewhat predicated on the US 2 project. As they rebuild US 2, the street signs along there for the adjacent streets are city-owned. So again, a lot of those are in tough shape. It's not part of the project. We feel that we want to, when that corridor is done, have that corridor looking in good shape. So we're asking to go out, get authorization to replace the street name signs out there. Again, usually we do that under maintenance. We replace one here and there, but this is a bigger task. Plus, as we do this, we have other street name signs around town that we have to replace. We've had over the years, I won't say it's an epidemic, but we've been losing street name signs. I'm not sure if people are taking them or what's occurring, so we have a number of other locations we'll get the street name signs replaced with this. It's a large enough project, we're bringing it to the commission. It will be funded through the street funds, and we move forward with it in your direction.
I'll make a motion, we authorize bids as described in item T.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Simo, second by Commissioner Tower to authorize bids for street name signs. Any further discussion or concerns on this item?
How do we decide what they look like?
It's actually regulated by the state. There are certain restrictions on size. I don't know. If you wanted to do a different theme or color on local streets, you probably could. On the US 2, they are regulated by the state.
All right. Motion by Simon, second by Tower. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item U, discuss and consider authorizing bids for trail construction for the Western Gateway Trail Phase 1.
This will be the section of trail through town. And this is part of the regional trail that will ultimately go from Ironwood all the way to Wakefield and beyond, hopefully at some point. So this will be the first phase through Ironwood. It is funded through the our trust fund grant for the funds that we have available. And with your direction, we would go forward with finalizing the bids, get approval from the state, and then go up with bids for this work yet this year.
Two questions. One, does this take care of the bridge across from the conservation?
Good question. It does, yes. We ended up redecking that bridge, put up a railing across. We actually go into Wisconsin. The DNR, the Michigan DNR has bought, I think, about 100 feet into Wisconsin, so we paid, a few feet actually into Wisconsin, making it ready for them to connect to the future. So yes, it took care of the bridge also.
And one of you said it was an easement trouble on the east side. Could you just describe where that is?
Absolutely. As we go from west to east, we're riding on, we call it the northerly rail grade that's been acquired by the DNR. So it's under public ownership. As we get closer to the east end of town, some of the properties in that area, from basically Luxmore Street back west, about 500 feet, maybe a little more, property owners in the past have actually acquired those easements, the right-of-way, right-of-way through that section. We have not been able to get the easement through that corridor from the property owners. So at that location, we'll have to bring the trail, run along the southerly grade for a portion until we get back onto the northerly trail alignment. So there's a spot in there where we're going to have motorized, non-motorized sharing a grade for a short distance. So not preferred, but it is functional, I guess, from that standpoint.
There has been discussion about putting some sort of physical divider between the two parts, motorized and non, whether it's just posts or whatever it would be.
We haven't included that in the bid. We can talk to the River Region Trail Authority. Again, in the wintertime, that trail, well, it'll be off to the side, hopefully out of their area, but again, a physical divider gets a little bit problematic. It also becomes a safety issue for the motorized travelers. So at least right now, we're not continuing to put a hard divider in there, just separate them by some distance, and hopefully make it the best we can. I have seen that occur in Minnesota in various areas. Again, it's nice when you can separate them. They can exist side by side. And for that short distance, they don't have to do.
And there are areas on the Iron River Heritage Trail in Marquette, County that are like this as well. It works fine. With or without the divider.
It can work. It's not like not ideal, but it's working.
I'll make a motion, we approve the bids described in item U.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to authorize bids as described in item U. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, discuss and consider scheduling a public hearing for Monday, August 11th, 2014 at 5:10 p.m. for resolution 014-023 condemnation of a structure at 125 Main Street.
This is one of the properties we talked about off and on, probably over the last year. And beneficial density has looked at it, and we are recommending having a public hearing. Then you want to touch on this particular structure, what you call again, a formal public hearing on that, and go through a more thorough, detailed project.
This structure at 125 Main Street, I've been working with the homeowner probably 4 years now, trying to get him to do something there. He had big plans to renovate the structure. He had some illness a couple years ago. His attorney sent me a letter saying that he couldn't do anything type of work. I did sent him another letter on the structure. He said he'd be here over the 4th of July, start working on it. Nothing has happened. So I'm just going to the next step, the petition to have the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to schedule a hearing as described in item B.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower, to schedule the public hearing as described in item B. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item W, discuss and consider scheduling a public hearing for Monday, August 11, 2014 at 5:20 p.m. for resolution 014-025, condemnation of the structure at 129 Main Street.
This structure is right next door, the same owner. The buildings are just falling into the ground. There's no upkeep at all. And so once again, bring it to the next step to petition that. It's still giving them time to do some work on it if he does decide to try to fix them. But dollar-wise, I don't think it's smart.
I'll make a motion we describe the second hearing as described in item W.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Towers to schedule a public hearing as noted in item W. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item X, discuss and consider authorizing bids for 2014 crack sealing program.
Yeah, the crack sealing, you probably see in a lot of roads, it's a preventative maintenance measure. Any road that's paved is going to crack, just nature of what it does with the freeze-thaw cycle. We want to get that crack sealed as soon as we can. Again, with all the new roads we have out there, we want to see these things last as long as they can. These preventative programs will extend the life of the road. Essentially, you're keeping water from getting in that crack, going down into the base of the road, freezing, and making that road degrade over time. So with this, we want to get that program reactivated. We've done a little bit of this over the years, but be more proactive on this and maintain, the big investment we have out there now with roads that are pretty good shape. So we are asking to go out for bids on this. We bring the bids back to the city commission that we receive them.
I'll make a bid, we authorize the bids described in item X.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to authorize bids as described in item X. Yes, item X. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item Y, discuss and consider authorizing bids for 2014 local street cleaning program.
Yeah, going through the budget process, the city commission was able to budget some funds for basically a mill and overlay that we've done over the last few years. And we are recommending going forward to obtain bids for that work yet this year. The primary roads should get paved this year. We have East Air Street from Southwest to Country Club Road, Southwest Street from Air Bonnie are our two biggest sections of road that we pulverized and overlaid this year. And we still have some money left in the bond, so we have some areas that we still can get some roads done. And it's kind of up in that connected woods, Copper, and Holden are on the list. We also have Mill Street, which the commission has committed to milling and paving also, so that would be part of the project. And again, depending on bids, we may do more, we may do a little less. We'll work with the budget that we have.
I'll make a motion, we authorize the bids described in item Y.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to authorize bids as described in item Y. Any further discussions or concerns on this item? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item Z, discuss consider options for ballot language for street millage.
Yeah, we talked about this during the budget process. Again, we have more roads to maintain and we have dollars to maintain them with. So let's look at what funding options we have. One of those funding options is to go to the public and ask them for a millage. We did that last year. It was a real close vote, you can recall. Whether you want to go forward with that again is the first question. And if you do want to go forward, we provided two examples of different ways that could be pursued. windmills, windmills that'll generate a certain amount of revenue, then we go out and bond and get a number of roads done. So if you're comfortable with that, it gives you a fixed millage rate. So from the property owner standpoint, they know what it's going to be. The millage is going to be this, and that's what it would be, and then we go out and get a bond based on that. The other option is similar to what they did for the memorial building. They said, we need X number of dollars. We need $2 million. We need $1.5 million. And then you would go up for a millage asking for that amount of money, and you set your millage based on that. And each year the millage is going to change a little bit. It might be a little bit higher, it might be a little bit lower, depending on the valuation in that particular year. Is there a better way to explain that, Dennis? That's with the memorial building each year, we had to set the millage based on the amount that we borrowed.
Right, yeah, so it then fluctuated by whatever our taxable value is, as far as how much money's coming in. We could lower it or else we'd have to raise the millage rate at least. But there was a maximum cap of 3.3 mils.
With that scenario.
Yeah.
So again, that way you have a fixed dollar amount, you know you're going to go up, you know, you're going to get $1.5 million or whatever the number is that you want to pursue. Again, looking at, you know, we did an analysis here not too long ago of how many roads, again, we're never done with roads. Roads are forever. You have to rebuild them, you have to repave them. We're in really pretty good shape from where we were. I wouldn't say pretty good shape, very good shape from where we were 3 years ago. We have about our 66-mile road, about 14 left that are really 14 miles that need some type of attention, not an overlay. Again, rebuild is a perfect scenario, but it's very expensive, and we at least get all of our roads, for the most part, up to an acceptable level. Again, it's ongoing. Once you do a road, you have to maintain them and ultimately fix them down the road. But you'd be in a position the city probably hasn't seen in many, many years. But we have, you know, a big jump to get to that. So I guess it's up for discussion with the commission. First of all, do you want to pursue putting a millage vote on the ballot for November? If you do, what is the format here that you'd like to see over the other? And again, based on your direction, we bring something more formal back to you with the language if you wanted to see one or the other format, something more fine-tuned.
I think it's worth pursuing because we do have some nasty roads and we are making progress. I'd like to see that momentum continue. And I believe as part of the comprehensive plan with the surveys, a lot of people didn't know it, but some of their concerns about Iron were the shape of the roads. And given the fact too that the memorial building, that will follow as far as the cost of taxpayers. So this will not necessarily increase the money that's coming out of their pockets. It was a close vote last time. So my thoughts are to at least bring it to our citizens to see if they would consider it. As far as the options, exhibit A or B, I don't have a preference either way. You know, maybe keep it the same. As far as the memorial building and go with exhibit B, I guess those are my thoughts.
Well, I think first of all, we should determine whether or not we're going to have a ballot initiative. I'll make that motion that we do authorize a ballot initiative to do street repairs.
Didn't we authorize this before?
No, I think we've authorized the concept that we have.
But yeah, actually, you didn't take action to authorize a millage. We had brought it up for your discussion. We talked about some different options, and we're bringing it back for that kind of discussion, if you will.
Normally, I don't like to ask twice for a taxpayer rejected referendum, but this one is pretty close. And it's possible somebody may have changed their mind, or it's possible whatever way too, we could get it along the water, but I don't have a problem with asking and the taxpayers will let us know the direction they want to go.
It's something to think about too, and again, the longer it's deferred, it's not addressed, the more expensive the repair work. So as that road continues to degrade, it may not any longer be a known overlay, it's more reconstructed. Again, the cost of that is tenfold over what we're trying to do here to get a useful life back. So just a point for consideration.
Any further discussion and comments?
We have a second.
No.
I'll second it.
So at this point, I just have a motion by Commissioner Semo and a second by Commissioner Tower to approve moving forward with ballot language for the street millage program. Any further discussion or concerns? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Okay. Would you like to do a roll call on that, or can we move forward with the option?
Roll call. Seymour,
Yes.
Sim,
No.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Motion passes to consider the options for, consider the ballot, or consider going out for a street millage. Now we need to consider the options.
I have a question on the memorial building. It varied. What was the highest and what was the lowest village that we had at that time?
3.3 mils was the highest, and 2 mils was the lowest. And it was, most of the time, it was closer to the 2 mil.
And that was a $2 million amount, was it?
I believe somewhere around here.
I kind of favor the idea of people knowing what they're going to spend. And I personally favor the concept of a fixed millage. And I think 2 mils is a number. I'll make that motion, that we basically, that would be option, is that A? Is A call for 2 mils?
Yeah, that is 2 mils for a 10-year period.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we use Exhibit A for our ballot language.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower, to use Exhibit A as our ballot language for the street millage. Any further discussion or concerns on this? Can I do a roll call?
Sim,
Yes.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. Item AA, discuss and consider awarding bids for the Alabama Civic Center wall repairs.
We did go out 4 bids. Again, the walls at the Civic Center, last winter, with all the snow going on there, when snow came off the roof, it falls down, goes again up against the walls and damages the walls. So we did submit that to insurance. Insurance has indicated they will pay for the repair work. And again, we did go out for bid for that work. We only received 1 bid. For that, it was AC Construction, in the amount of $31,974. And the Civic Center Board, Mr. Ryan's here, has reviewed that and are recommending awarding the bid.
I'll make a motion, we award the bid as described in item AA.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to approve awarding the bid as described in item AA. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Roll call.
Tower,
Yes.
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes. AB, discuss and consider rejecting bids for the replacement of light fixtures at the Alabama Civic Center.
Yeah, the Civic Center Board did want to go on and look at what it would cost to renovate or replace some of the lights. And we did receive bids on that. And the Civic Center Board is actually recommending rejecting the bids. But Brian, do you want to go into a little more detail on what your thoughts are on that, what their thoughts are?
Basically, it came down to money. The pricing for this project was out of this ballpark. We're going to go forward with some type of lighting replacement, but not as far as the fixtures go. We're going to replace bulbs and ballast here and there over the next couple of years. Our main area is the rink area. That's what burns the most energy. And they do make a bulb. I'm finding that they're around $120 a piece, but it's all LED. And LED likes the cold, LED does not use a lot of energy, so that's one thing we're looking into now. We're looking at maybe spending $8,000 versus almost $20,000, so me and the board decided to reject this proposal for the project at this time. Any questions?
Is there a reason why we have to take a negative action?
Well, actually, it would be, I think it's to finalize this process. Again, we did authorize one out for bids. If we take no action, it just kind of sits in limbo. So I can finalize it, that we're done with the process.
I'll make a motion, we approve rejecting the bids as described
Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Commissioner Tower to reject the bid for item 8B. Any further discussion or concerns on this item? Can we do a roll call?
Care,
Yes.
Seymour,
Yes.
Sim,
Yes.
Sauer.
Yes.
Yes. Item CC, discuss and consider approving surplus office furniture to be provided to the downtown park place.
At City Hall here, we do have some excess office furniture, some old stuff that we're looking at getting rid of. We actually brought it to the commission here a few months back to authorize us going out for bids for that. It's not a use of the city, and it's the process we have in place to get rid of it. The downtown arts place, folks had come up and saw some of the furniture, some old chairs, tables, things like that, and they asked if they could be donated to them. So we wanted to bring it back to you. Our recommendation is to donate it to them. It's probably about half of what's up there. They could use down at the downtown arts place for some of their studios, that type of thing. I think the historical society had one item that they had marked that they thought would be useful for them. So again, going to another quasi-city entity, if you will, for their use, but we want to bring it back to the commission to see if we're comfortable with that and get your authorization to do that. And if you so choose, whatever's left, we will go out and get bids on. But it's pretty, it's not real useful furniture for us. We've ever been in the back and you can see what that furniture is. And there is a list here identifying which furniture, which pieces of furniture they like.
So it's your intention that these items don't have a whole lot of value?
There's not a lot of value. No, we're looking at, we haven't put a minimum bid on any of these items, and we're guessing there may be garage sale on $1, $2 type items.
Yes, I would rather do it the other way around. You know, we haven't already authorized it or declared it surplus, throw it over bids, and then when it's left, that probably doesn't want it. Should do. Yeah.
That's fine too. That's,
Can we set a minimum bids for these, or for, I guess, would we sell it for
Without looking at the furniture, I can't really.
$1? You know what I mean, though? It might be serving our city better to have a minimum so that instead of getting $1 for it, it ends up being part of a quasi-city organization. The state kind of gets stuff, almost give it away.
Is some of this antique, is it worth anything? Then we can look at it.
I guess we've looked at it here.
Yeah, the wood vest might bring some money. I think you should just keep that as a bid, surplus bid process. The DAP doesn't want all that stuff, so I mean, they've only indicated the certain things that they've used down there. So at least get that out of the way and then do the bid on the others and still do anything with it, see what it goes.
Do you think it's bad faith if we get bids that are so low that we reject them?
We could, I guess, maybe we could have an antique dealer, maybe just to look at some of the old wooden desks. I don't know. I don't think there's any value to it.
Usually if you go for, again, you can reject bids. Usually someone's doing 50 cents on a chair and more useful down in the back, have 50 cents for it. You could make those type of decisions if you wanted to. Again, when you go out for bids, you usually do, in good faith, make them available to the bidders. You can set minimum bids, and we chose not to recommend setting minimum bids just because it was stuff that we need to get rid of. Didn't see a lot of value in it.
And the secondary old chairs, I would think they probably would have went on our dump day. They're just, they're not really old, they're kind of in between there, like.
But how would you like to proceed? I guess Gavin asked the question, how we bring it to you is get your input, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, whatever you're comfortable with.
Take a look too, the property is kind of worthless, and you don't need it, want to use it. And then you take a look at how much time and effort is put into when you establish the prices and going through the bidding process. And it seems like you're taking not enough time and effort for something that's basically worthless. So for me, I support just giving it to these entities that are a part of the city. Commission, you good?
It's your recommendation that every single piece that's on this list really doesn't have a lot of value to it?
Right. It's all surplus, not a lot of value to it. Again, we're recommending this disposing of it, we want to go through a formal process. And that is either going out for bids, or you can, do an entity like this, there's some value to that, you want to do that, or, again, there's not a right or wrong answer to it, whatever you're comfortable with. And yet, the approach is saying that there's a couple pieces, the list there, of things that they thought could be useful for their efforts on their facility.
This is a tough one, but based on staff recommendation that this equipment doesn't have a lot of value, I will make a motion that we approve the DAP's request that this equipment be donated to them.
Support. Motion by Commissioner Semo, second by Mayor Corcoran to approve surplus city office furniture to be provided to downtown place. Any further discussion or concerns on this item?
Because it's not gonna break us. Not really worth that much.
No, there's nothing there for significant value.
I feel
It's public property, that's my point.
Exactly.
Public property.
I agree with that. I agree with it was the staff's thoughts.
That's what I was thinking it was pretty good public dollars, we should have the opportunity to get it, if they want it.
Yeah, I'm fine either way.
I don't, yes. I just don't want to make things political. Yeah.
We have a motion by Commissioner Semo and a second by Mayor Corcoran. Any further discussion? Any roll call, please?
Semo.
Yes.
Sim.
No.
Tower.
No.
Care.
No.
Corcoran.
Yes.
We'll go through the normal bidding process. You already approved disposing of it. We'll go
Yeah.
through the normal bidding process and see how that shakes out.
She all shakes over. Whatever's left, taken. I'll bring it back this.
You need a motion for that then, Scott?
You've already authorized one of the sale and service.
Item DD, discuss and consider approving side letter of agreement with the Ironwood Public Police Officers Association establishing a city fire marshal designation.
Again, we're bringing this to the city commission. Chief DeGiorgio here will touch base on it. We do have a good opportunity here that we've discussed internally in developing a fire marshal position. We have Brandon Schneider here, who is a public safety officer, a fire officer, and also has been certified to do all the fire marshal activities that we would need here. Again, it's an opportunity that's been reviewed with the police association and decided we need to probably fill in all the gaps, but Andrew, you want to?
Yeah, basically, as public safety, we're responsible for the police and fire services in the Ironwood. Very fortunate to have Officer Snyder on our department, very passionate about fire. He's received certification as an inspector, investigator. He oversees our hazmat team. He's looking at updating our fire codes. Our fire codes are outdated. So we're taking out a lot of responsibility, as you saw in this job description included in the packet. So with this added responsibility, we wanted to provide the fire marshal title. He's operating under a lot of those job descriptions. And with that, there's a rate increase. We want to do a sideline rather than a promotional opportunity. He's one of the few people in our department that would qualify for this position. So it's going to be a great thing for the community, great thing for our department, and a lot of positives will come from this.
Before we begin, I am going to abstain from discussion and voting from my close friends and his wedding this weekend. Congrats. And I'm just going to abstain from discussion.
So, Chief DeGiorgio, do you feel that there's a value, direct value to the taxpayers with this promotion, well, this increase?
There is a value. What Officer Center brings to our department is seen in much larger departments. And we're able to provide services that many departments our size or even bigger are unable to provide. So it brings a huge value to the community. And for example, the hazmat team, that program is, I think we just spent $100,000
equipment. So a lot of time and effort, a lot of knowledge, a lot of training, and so a huge value to the community.
It's really elevating of our fire services portion of our public safety also, going forward with things that we wanted to achieve. Some ordinance changes, things such as that will be a real advantage to us that are pretty much old and outdated. And Brandon, through his training, is aware of that, and we're going to be bringing those forward to the commission with some recommendations here over the next few months.
And this will assist some of the committees outside of the Public Safety Planning Commission on those questions they may have, that he can take part in those discussions.
We have union support then, this last.
The union did approve this, they already signed off on the letter.
But it's great to see Brandon's dedication to improving the services that we provide to our community. It sounds like a good deal of need.
I would make a motion that we approve the signed letter of agreement establishing Brandon Schneider as a city fire marshal.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Sims, second by Commissioner Seymour to approve the signed letter of agreement with the Ironwood Public Safety, or Ironwood Public Police Officers Association establishing the fire marshal position designation. Any further discussion or concerns of this item?
Do we have to do anything for his, to abstain or no? Do we have to make some motion for that?
No, it's just an action by the commissioner if they choose to abstain for whatever reason.
Can I do a roll call?
Sim?
Yes.
Abstain, so. Care?
Yes.
Seymour?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Mayor's appointment to Kyle Donald Civic Center. I have an application of Joseph Robato. He seems to be a very good fit for the Civic Center, so I would like to appoint him.
I'll make a motion we approve the mayor's appointment.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Seymour, second by Commissioner Tower to approve the mayor's appointment of Joseph Robato to the Kyle Donald Civic Center. Any further discussion or concerns in this item? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, managers report.
Just a few items to update the commission on. This week, as everybody's probably aware, is Festival Ironwood. So we're going to get down there and enjoy the festivities. They've got a great list of activities down there. Did they get a list up there? So see what you're able to attend. Also, if you're out and about, make sure to recognize the volunteers on this. It's all volunteer driven. You have the two chairs, Keith Johnson, Will Corcoran, who will give a whole bunch of their personal time to this. We have many volunteers that make this happen. So you get a chance to thank them. I mean, there's communities that would die to have a festival like ours. It's phenomenal, as we all know. Project-wise, the city did move forward. This year was our, I'll call it our off year for our street pavement markings. We do a partial pavement marking project this year. Next year is everything. We'll go to the whole town next year, so we'll get the partial contractor has been in. They painted our center line stripes, bottom lines, some crosswalks. So again, if you see spots in town that are missed, there's a reason for that. They weren't all done this year.
French Town and McCall, they had the turn lanes that are non-existent, and I think now would be a good time to actually have those. Those right turn lanes.
Yes, there is that. Yeah, there is
not.
We'll look at that with our forces too. We do some minor striping too. So
since it's the detour road, I thought that would be that's good.
That's good. Excellent point. So we'll get those at senior spots. Let us know.
That was the big one. I thought we were going to do it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that was that off the radar screen. They probably got somewhere else.
They actually probably seen most of that.
Yeah. Thank you. Snow Country Contracting is working for MDOT on the US 2 project of phase 1. Again, that is moving forward. They are working on the sanitary sewer portion of that. We do meet weekly with MDOT, the contractor, talk about the status of that. They are a little bit behind with their progress schedule. That's something we've talked about at the meetings. They are working, and what MDOT says, what are you going to do to get back on schedule? They don't just automatically give them meetings. Again, if it's raining, things like that, there are things that work at the time. But they are working on that, and moving forward. Mike, anything to add that you're aware of the project?
No.
Working on sewer now. Once they get done with that, the other side will be water. As that breaks up. The sewer is basically the most difficult part of the project. It's the deepest and most time consuming, I guess.
very much the water main typically goes notably faster than so.
So you're aware of that. As you're aware, the city, or probably aware, the city last week did receive notice that we are the recipient of the Safe Routes to School grant. And Ian Shackelford was here, if you stuck around, he was a big, he was the champion behind that with a lot of others that he had support from. So again, another really nice project for the city. Ian and many others, the school district, city staff, home engineering, all partnered together to get this grant to happen. And it's 100% grant. You don't see too many of those anymore. The city did step up on this to help with some of the funding for the engineering. That is not covered under the grant, that is in the budget. So again, another nice, real nice project for the community. It shows our community spirit, all these different entities working together. Without that, this grant would not happen. I'm just comfortable saying that. It takes all those people working together to make something like that occur. So again, that's $386,000 that will be coming our way to improve pedestrian safety for our schools. We also received some good news. It's a little preliminary yet, but still good news. Things are going in the right direction on the Phase 2 regional trail. Grants have been submitted for the second phase, which will be from Ironwood to Bessemer. And working on 2 grants together, it's an MDOT, it's called a TAP grant, and again, our trust fund grant. And the TAP grant process, it's still working through the process. It hasn't been approved yet, so you can't get too excited, but we made it through the first phase of review and recommendation. So it's moving in a positive direction. Again, that's about a $1.2 million grant, just a TAP grant. And that's being matched with, hopefully with the DNR trust fund grant that we haven't heard yet about, but it sounds very promising. So again, a real nice continuation of that regional trail effort. Public safety, I want to recognize that their efforts have been very aggressive with going after some grants, as they always are. And they received notice that they're going to get, they have been a recipient of a $14,000 AFG grant. That's for replacing air bottles and air packs. So again, being very aggressive to have done this. Again, one less thing that we have to budget for and puts in a pretty good position in those areas. They've also applied for a COPS grant. It's for a position, actually a position for 3 years. That would help fund a position for the city. Again, we put more effort, more manpower, helping out the school. The school district is a partner in this also. So again, we're not going to hear until probably September.
Sometime late September.
On that, but again, a very complicated grant process. A lot of effort goes into that. It's not just something you fill out a form and submit it in. It's weeks worth of data information that is put into that grant application. Again, not sure how that'll play out, but keep our fingers crossed and hopefully that shakes out in our favor. Another grant they've applied for that they have received is it's a 50-50 matching grant through the Department of Justice. It's for replacement of bulletproof vests. So they will be receiving approximately a $5,000 grant to help replace some of the older vests that I guess need to be replaced every so often.
Every 5 years they have to be replaced.
So we want to, again, thank them for all their efforts. That's extra effort on their behalf. It's not just throwing on a piece of paper. It's a lot of time and effort that goes into these, but they're very well received and helps, manage the costs through their department and through the city. I also want to mention on a different note that we hired Mr. Tim Erickson as our new community development department assistant. Kim Cool, who was here, has submitted her resignation. She is moving to another part of the country, a little warmer part of the country, and she's done a great job for us. She's been a pleasure to have. She really helped the community development department in a huge way in many different areas, not only from computerization, but just filling out grant applications, you name it. Again, Kim's going to be around for about another week or so.
Yep, next week.
Next week, last week. So to see her, we stop in and wish her the best because she's done a great job. Kim will come in. Again, I think he did a great job for us. Has some real big talents. It's a permanent part-time position that we have. We've got the same hours. We haven't changed anything with the structure of the position. But looking forward to have Kim on board. Tim is not a relative of mine. So, although I would claim him as a great young man who has a lot of talents, and we're going to be pleased to have him on board with us. City Clerk's office, Karen is busy preparing for the primary elections on August 5th, so she'll be doing all that process taking place. And next Wednesday, if you're available, out at the Cohibit County Airport, they're going to have a ribbon cutting for the new airline that's coming, that isn't here now, Air Choice 1. So from 11 to 3, they're going to have an open house with a 12 o'clock ribbon cutting. So we make it out there to support that. It's nice to have an airline back in town. I believe they're going out to Chicago, and there are a number of different flights that go out every day. So it's nice to have them back and have a connection to, wherever people want to go. So if you're able to make that ribbon cutting, it is open to the public, and nice to support their efforts. That's the last one report.
Thank you. Item GG, other matters.
I'd just like to mention that Art in the Park is still going on. If you haven't done it, you should really go out and take a look. It's seriously very, very cool. Huge asset to the community. There's been hundreds and hundreds of people that have gone through. My friends at the Miners Park will be offering golf cart rides this Saturday from 10 until 2 for those who are not able to walk. So, they'll be during the festival.
It is a great walk. If you haven't done it yet, it's pretty, very impressive what they've done up there.
Any other matters? Item HH, adjourned.
Make that motion.
Second.